I finally figured it out, y'all. Piano covers. I listened to piano covers of Metallica, and it finally dawned on me what has been missing from Metallica's new music. Welcome, metalheads. I'm the host of Heavy Metal Philosophy and writer for Metal Digest, John Barbas. A couple of weeks ago, we got a new single from Metallica from their new album 72 Seasons, and I was inspired to make a video about it because unlike Lux Eterna, this new song didn't really set me on fire, and I was kind of worried that the new album is going to sound like these two songs, and I don't really like that direction. But what is it about that direction that I don't like? Because a long time ago, we as fans started clamoring and saying, Metallica, please go back to your roots. Please go back to playing thrash metal. And they did. So why didn't I like it as much? They did exactly what we asked them to do. They went back to playing thrash metal riffs. They went back to playing guitar harmonies. They went back to playing guitar solos. They went back to their old style. But did they? It could even be said that the two singles from 72 Seasons go back to that kill 'em all, new wave of British heavy metal sort of vibe. They definitely went back. So then why don't I like it as much? They gave me exactly what I asked for. Why don't I like it as much? I finally figured it out. Because when I was recording that episode, lamenting the direction of the new album, I had to put in some Metallica music in the episode, but I was so scared to use actual Metallica music in the video. I was so scared of being struck down by the copyright gods that I used a piano cover. And when I listened to that piano cover, it struck me like a bolt of lightning. I used Master of Puppets piano cover, and let me tell y'all something. When I heard it, I was literally brought to tears. My wife came to the study to ask me a question, and I had tears streaming down my face. I wasn't weeping like, somebody died. It was just singular tears coming down my face, and she asked me, "What's wrong with you?" And I said, "Listen to this." And she looks at me and goes, "Yeah, it's Metallica." Okay. But I was so moved by the intricacies and the beauty of the composition of that song. I've always thought of Master of Puppets as a heavy song. It makes me want to bang my head. I've never thought of it as beautiful. But when I heard that piano cover, especially the interlude section, it just moved me. I could not believe what a tremendously composed piece of music this is. So now, let's analyze some other piano covers, and we will see that there is a complexity and a depth to the early Metallica compositions that are just not present anymore. Now, as we all know, Kill 'Em All was pretty much just a pure thrash and speed metal album, and that was before Cliff Burton really got his hands on the music. This was already written music, so let's go to Ride the Lightning and let's go to Fade to Black. Listen to Fade to Black and Call of the Cthulhu for that matter. There's so much complexity and so many layers. This is Cliff's influence on these dudes. These dudes were just beer drinking dregs of society playing really fast rock and roll. And when Cliff joined the band, he said, "Check this out. Let's do some classical shit." There's such a stark contrast between Kill 'Em All and Ride the Lightning, and I don't think it's controversial at all to say that this is mainly Cliff's influence. Cliff taught James and Kirk how to write complex music, and if you listen to this piano cover of Fade to Black, you can hear it. You can hear the incredible composition. Now, we already talked about Master of Puppets, so let's skip ahead to the one that started it all for me, and Justice for All. Now, one is known as the Machine Gun Riff song, but listen to this piano cover, not just during the clean parts, but even during the heavy parts. Even during the tremolo picking on the E string parts, there's a depth to this that just isn't present on other metal records in this same genre. Even the guitar solo, which is, when I learned it on guitar, it's just like, oh yeah, he's just tapping, cool. It's not really as hard as it sounds. But then when you listen to it on piano, then you realize how it fits with the music. This is not just Kirk wanking. And I thought it was. I was like, yeah, this is the coolest solo ever. I've got to learn this. And I learned it. And I'm like, look at me, I'm doing the coolest solo ever. I didn't even understand playing it myself how it fit with the music. And right about now, you might be saying, well, John, you're picking all of these classical songs. Metallica doesn't just do classical songs. There's also those straight up bangers. Well, listen to this. Listen to this piano cover of And Justice for All. This isn't one of those classical pieces like Fade to Black, like the interlude of Master of Puppets, like, Nothing Else Matters. This is a straight up banger, and even this on piano, that's just straight up guitar riffing, you can hear the complexity of these riffs. You can hear the interplay of the two different guitars. And then a lot of Metallica fans got angry with Metallica for the Black Album because they simplified their sound on the Black Album. They went to a more straightforward sort of sound, but still. We're not even going to do the easy one, Nothing Else Matters. Listen to this cover of The Unforgiven. What an incredibly deep piece of music this is, and you can really hear it on the piano. Well, all right, John, yeah, the first few albums up to the Black Album, yeah, but of course, Load and Reload, right? You're done there. No, I'm not done, y'all. Load has two of my favorite Metallica songs of all time. Bleeding Me and The Outlaw Torn are two of the most incredible songs ever written by any band of any genre. I'm willing to debate that. I stand by that no matter what. Even Metallica playing blues rock songs on Load and Reload still wanted to make their compositions smart and deep. And this is exemplified on songs like Bleeding Me and The Outlaw Torn. And even things like Devil's Dance or Fuel. Fuel isn't a classical composition, but listen to the interplay of the vocals and the guitars, the two different guitars, the bass. The Memory Remains. Definitely not one of my favorite Metallica songs, but it's unique and it's deep. Until It Sleeps, come on, there's so much unique and incredible music on this album. And it's the depth, it's the composition that I keep coming back to. It's not just the heaviness. Now, y'all know the most important thing to me in metal is that it's heavy. But lots of bands are heavy. What sets Metallica apart? What made Metallica the biggest band on the planet above all other metal bands, even above Ozzy? It's the songwriting. It's the songs themselves. It's those riffs that stick in your head forever. Like Sanitarium, like The Thing That Should Not Be, like To Live Is To Die, like The God That Failed. Again, Fuel is kind of a joke, but still, when you hear that, give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire, that's in your head down deep. Now, right about here, you're saying, yeah, okay. Maybe you like Load, maybe you like Reload, but that's it, right? No, listen to me. There's some stuff on Saint Anger. Now, we all have a sore spot when it comes to Saint Anger. All Metallica fans will readily admit it's not their best album, of course. But it's the drums. It's the drums that messed that song up. Lars, why you do this, man? Why you do this? I maintain that there are some crushing riffs on Saint Anger that were marred by the drums. There are some great song ideas on Saint Anger, and we just hate it because they're on the album Saint Anger. But listen to this piano cover of All Within My Hands. All Within My Hands is an incredible song that once again was marred by the drums. Listen to the layers and the interplay in this song that is on the album that we all hate. There's something here. So after Saint Anger, Even James will admit, even Lars will admit that that's not their favorite album. Of course, it's not our favorite album. So they listened to the fans, they went back old school, and they even listened to that stupid petition to get rid of Bob Rock. I'm here to tell you I miss Bob Rock. Please bring back Bob Rock. So they went back old school. They went back to thrash. They went back to using guitar harmonies. They went back to using guitar solos. And why don't we like it? Out of all these albums we talked about, would you rank Death Magnetic and Hardwired to Self-Destruct above that? Maybe Saint Anger. I could hear your argument there, but definitely not above the other albums, including Load and including even Reload. So what's missing? The depth and the complexity. Now let me go ahead and say that Metallica still have depth and complexity when it comes to the song structure. They don't do the typical verse, chorus, bridge, chorus sort of thing that other bands do, and I really appreciate the dynamics that they put in all of the songs, but there's something about the interplay of the guitars and the melodies that's just no longer there. This is especially prevalent on the clean guitars. Listen to the clean guitars. There's no clean guitars on those albums. There's no melodies there where you hear it and that's the riff. That's the standout thing that you remember. The one possible exception to this is The Day That Never Comes. That clean part kind of has a bit of catchiness to it, but the tone of the guitar, I don't really like that. Now, am I saying I don't like any songs from those albums? No, I'm not saying that. There's a couple of bangers there. Moth Into the Flame, Atlas Rise, The Unforgiven 3. There are great songs. These guys are not incapable of writing great riffs and great songs. And in fact, I would opine that if another band had wrote these same songs, we would be praising them for how incredible they are. Problem is, we're comparing them to Master of Puppets. We're comparing them to Call of the Cthulhu. We're comparing them with Fight Fire with Fire. We're comparing them with Harvester of Sorrow. And the new songs just don't stack up to that. The reason why I say that other bands, if they had wrote those same songs, we would be praising them as masterpieces, is because they don't have that back catalog for us to compare them to. The bottom line is, we expect more from Metallica. So with all that said, I need to know, what do you think? Please comment. Have you heard these piano covers, and does that change the way you look at the compositions? It definitely changed the way that I look at them. Ultimately, I'm still excited for 72 Seasons. It's Metallica, but I'm wary. We've heard 2 songs off the album, and if that's the way the whole album is going to sound, I need at least 2 or 3 incredible compositions. And then I also need at least 2 or 3 head-banging crushers. That's what I need from Metallica. And if I don't get that, to me, they're not metal anymore. What they are is a fantastic rock and roll band. And at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with that. They're definitely not writing pop songs. They're making the music that they want to make. It's just not the music that I want. And who am I really? Do you think I'm onto something here with these piano covers? I would definitely also be interested in analyzing them with other instrumental covers besides guitar. I think a different instrument is a revolutionary way to analyze the composition of something that you're accustomed to hearing on the guitar. And that's basically it. But before we close the episode, let's shout out the performers of these piano covers. The links to all of them will be in the description, so you can go give some love to these amazing musicians. Y'all, I'm not talking shit when I'm saying that Master of Puppets cover moved me to tears. I wasn't weeping per se, but just a few tears like that dude in the Super Bowl during the national anthem. It was emotional for me. I love Metallica, and if you love metal the way that I love metal, that means you're in the right place, and you should be subscribed, and you should also hit the like button, because the like button means love for metal. You do love metal, don't you? So hit those buttons. I really appreciate it. And if you want more content where I'm talking about Metallica, just click right here and there's some more Metallica content. But most importantly, read philosophy, listen to metal. I love you.